Hey everyone, it's Caitlin and welcome to another video. This video is going to be like a chat with Caitlin in which I just talk to you guys very candidly and openly, and you can sit and chill. Great new word combo. Should we make it a thing? Anyways, yeah, I'm just going to be talking, and if you like the sound of my voice or like what I have to say, you can listen. I actually didn't plan to film this video today, but I just filmed a video intro and felt like it was a good time to film it because it's kind of been on my mind. I just got back from a trip, and this video has been highly requested just as a general topic. So I'm going to be talking about traveling and in general, like things I've learned from traveling. I actually wrote a list of 5 things that I learned on my phone to help keep me on track and keep things moving along. But just to give you guys a general background, oh, by the way, I am like slightly getting over a cold, so if my voice sounds slightly stuffy, that's why, but I'm okay, I just have the sniffles. Anyways, as a general background though, growing up I actually didn't really travel much as a kid. The only vacations that my family really took would be to visit my grandparents on either my mom or my dad's side, because they lived in different states from us. So once a year we would go visit my dad's parents in Tennessee and my mom's parents in Massachusetts, and then like maybe we would go to a theme park, and maybe we'd go camping every once in a while, but we never really took like any big trips or any international trips. The first time I went abroad was actually in high school. I went on like a short school trip of Portugal and Spain, but that was like very it was very guided, so it was fun, but I feel like it reminded me more of like a field trip than like actually traveling. So personally, I consider the first time that I actually traveled abroad was when I studied abroad in college. I did it in the spring semester of my junior year, and I was abroad for 4 months, mostly in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I've told you guys this before, but as with most study abroad programs, you do get some free time, so I traveled a lot around the country of Argentina, as well as I went to Chile, went to Santiago and Valparaiso, and then I also went to Rio for a week in Brazil. So that was my first big experience with traveling, and then just last week, I guess, last 2 weeks, I went on a trip to Israel with Vibe Israel. So I went to Israel, didn't travel around, just stayed in Israel for that one. But those are my 2 main travel trips. But I would say from those trips, I have also like learned some very similar things. And just in general, I feel like Americans, we don't travel as much, and I think this is for a few different reasons. One, it's not really as encouraged, I guess, in our everyday culture and society, and especially in our educational systems. Like I know some kids study abroad, but it's definitely not all of them. But outside of that, in our general culture too, I don't know, personally, I don't mean this with any offense to other Americans. Someone will probably take offense. But I think America is very obsessed with itself, and like we don't really try to learn about other cultures or like go out and explore, whereas other cultures, I guess, in countries seem more open to that or more willing to do that. Another reason that is a little more practical is that America is a pretty big country, and it also is diverse, so you do have a lot you can see within the country itself, but even then a lot of people don't really travel or go on vacation. I don't know. And also flights are expensive to other countries, especially depending what coast you're on. But if you live in America or anywhere else, I would highly encourage you guys to travel, because it's definitely a life-changing experience, and it definitely helped me to learn more about myself and be the person who I am today and be more mature and just have like a larger sense of appreciation for the world. So I'm gonna open my phone and get all my tips. So the first tip that I learned while traveling, or not first tip, the first thing I learned while traveling is just overall independence. Before I started traveling, well, growing up, I was a really shy kid. I've talked about this before, but I was like kind of dependent. I wouldn't say necessarily dependent, maybe I was dependent on a routine. Like when I went away to college, I never got homesick or anything, but I had like my tiny little bubble that I liked to stay in, and I had this routine that I liked to do every single day, and I didn't really like to get out of it. But studying abroad was awesome. Even kind of going to college was awesome because I didn't know anyone, but when I studied abroad, I purposely went on a program where I wasn't going to know anyone because like that doesn't really bother me. I know I'll make friends eventually and I feel like it's more fun. I'll get to that later. But so yeah, I definitely learned how to be independent, and when I studied abroad I stayed with a host family. But I mean, they talked to me every once in a while and they fed me dinner and I had a great relationship with them. But like most of the time during the day or on the weekends, I could do literally whatever the heck I wanted to do. And this is very similar to going to college, but I feel like when you're in a different country and you're learning about a new culture, everything is like kind of similar to your everyday life, but at the same time there's like a slight layer or like something that's slightly different. So it's like, you know, you're not in America, or if you live in Australia and you come to America, you know you're not still in Australia, you know what I mean? So it definitely challenges you and causes you, I think, to think more critically of your everyday habits and just your values and your lifestyle, which I think is a very good thing. So studying abroad definitely made me realize, like, and just traveling in general on this last trip, like what you value in life and how no matter what culture we come from, we all sort of value the same things, and it's interesting to see what's similar and different in between groups of people and how they live their everyday lives. The second thing that I learned was that it is totally okay not to plan. And if you guys know me, you know I'm a type A person who loves to make lists and loves to organize things. And I totally thought I was going to do that when I studied abroad. Like I remember when I planned my first trip outside of Buenos Aires, I was like, okay, these are all the important places I want to go. Let me make like a time frame and windows of places to go. But once you actually travel, you've realized that that is never going to work out. And now when I travel, like on this last trip when I had some time just by myself and I was doing whatever I wanted to, I literally made no plans before I got to the spot, because traveling is like about experiencing a culture and going with the flow. And I feel like if you're stuck to a rigid schedule, one, something is always going to go wrong and you're never going to be on schedule, and then you're just going to get worked up about it and not actually enjoy the moment instead of like actually enjoying your time in the country. And two, oftentimes when you get to a place, I know at least me, like I get the most valuable and fun experiences when you listen to the suggestions of the locals or you see where the majority of people are going. And most of the time that's not to the big touristy spots. Like while I was in Rio, yeah, it was really nice to see the big Jesus, but I also feel like I had just as good of a time when I went to like this local like sort of block party that this man who I met on the street, he gave me a tour around Rio, but he invited me to afterwards, like with a few friends. He's like, oh yeah, all the locals like come here to party, come hang out with us. And I feel like that was just as rewarding. But if I was like, oh no, I already have an itinerary, I wouldn't have even been able to say yes to that opportunity. So, you know, it's hard sometimes to let go, but I definitely think you learn a lot more when you just do and go with what comes your way. So my next tip is slightly related to this, which is being a tourist is overrated. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like you could totally go to a country and visit all of the touristy spots for that country and literally not know anything at all about the country. I feel like cruises are kind of like that, which is why personally I'm not too big of a fan of cruises. I guess I would go on one, but I think I would prefer to actually visit an actual country or like group of cities instead, just because like you're going to the resort and then that's all you see. Whereas like kind of like, for example, if you come to the United States and you go to New York City, and then where does everyone go? You go to Times Square, you go to the Statue of Liberty, you go see the Empire State Building. Like in reality, the people who live in New York City never go there, and I'm pretty sure most people who live in New York City hate Times Square with a fiery passion and try to avoid it at all costs because there's always so many tourists there. But so it's like you can see those things, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to see those things. It's cool to like go there and take a picture, but my advice would be to do things that aren't touristy as well. Like ask someone who actually lives in the city, or like Google like what locals actually do in a certain area and kind of slow down and learn what a way of life is like in a city that's not your own. I think that is so much more rewarding, and you actually get to learn about other people and other cultures that way as well. On that note, another thought that I had is that traveling alone is actually really, really fun. You can travel in a group, and it's totally okay if you do, and I know some people are like concerned for their safety when they travel alone. Personally, that stuff like never really bothers me. I know some people get more nervous, but even when I studied abroad in Buenos Aires, like I would walk alone at night. I wouldn't go to like the sketchy neighborhoods, but I never really felt uncomfortable, I guess. I think I have a pretty good intuition of like where I should go and where I should not. But don't go walking down creepy streets. Anyways, I personally went on some trips with friends and some trips without friends when I studied abroad. And I traveled in like other groups, with other groups of people too. And I feel like I experienced so much more when I traveled alone. And I had a great time with my friends when I traveled with them. But if you think of it this way, like when you travel alone, you are going to learn so much more because, for example, most people will travel with like one or two or maybe more other people. And like when you're traveling with a group, you tend to only socialize with that group. So yes, you're experiencing what people are like, you can see what people are doing and you can do the same things that like locals or other people are doing, but most of the time you don't really interact with them. You kind of just interact with your friends. But when you travel alone, people are so much more likely to come up to you and talk to you. Just started raining. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm just going to continue. When you travel alone, people are so much more likely to approach you and have just a casual conversation with you, or give you tips or help you out, or even like invite you to have a meal with them or something like that. And like I've alluded to before, I think that is so much more valuable than any touristy experience you can have. Like I would travel alone a lot when I studied abroad. I know cliques kind of formed and I don't really like cliques. And I loved all the people in my study abroad group, but I personally just preferred to go off and sort of do my own thing. I also am a loner and recharge by myself, so that could be it too. But when I did that, I would have so many awesome conversations with just random people, like on the bus or on the street. And I feel like those are the moments, like I said, where like I just really, really cherish the most. So I think those were like 4 general thoughts. So I'm going to give my last-ish one, which is that you don't have to spend a ton of money to travel. Now, in general, yes, like your initial plane ticket is going to be pretty expensive, but when it comes to actual experiences, like I said, the touristy stuff is often overpriced and overrated, and most of the stuff that locals do in their everyday life you can still enjoy, and you don't have to pay a lot of money to do it. Like, for example, when Jasmine and I extended our stay in Israel after the end of our tour, we didn't really spend that much money. We like would walk to the beach, we'd walk around. By the way, like walking is the best form of transportation when you travel because you actually get to see everything and explore on foot, blah, blah, blah. And we didn't even spend that much money on food too. We would just like buy hummus and eat at really cheap restaurants, or like go to the market and buy some fruit for breakfast. Like things like that. I feel like, I don't know, it's like more rustic, but you get more of an authentic experience. And another thing to do if you are traveling is to look and see what free attractions there are. Like maybe you can go to a park and have a picnic there, or find an art museum. I know in Buenos Aires, a lot of the art museums had one day a week where it was free admission, so I'd always go on those days. There are a lot of cool things you can do, or even like check a local paper if you can read the language of the country you're visiting to see if they have any like free community events. I think that's another cool thing that you can do. And like even if you walk down like the major shopping center or like a major street in a country, doesn't mean you have to buy anything. You can just go and people watch, because that's pretty fun too. So I want to keep this video kind of short and kind of concise, so I think that's like pretty much all of my main like experiences / tips with traveling. Like honestly, if you ask anyone who studied abroad or traveled for an extended period of time, they're going to tell you that they could talk about it forever, because it's like such, I have a hair on my face. That ruined the moment. Anyways, it's like such a life-changing experience. Like not only do you learn about other people, but I just feel like you learn so much about yourself too, in like the best way possible. Like I miss Buenos Aires so much, like for the culture and the people there, but also I feel like because of the feeling, like how I felt there, like I feel like I really discovered myself and figured out what I valued in life and made some like good like connections with friends, you know? I don't know. Oh, another tip that I just remembered is like if you are traveling, I know some people like to travel and like to spend more money and like stay in really nice hotels, but like I said, I feel like sometimes doing the touristy thing, you don't really get to experience a culture as much. So I guess it just depends on what you want to see when you travel too. If you just want to relax and not do anything, like I guess a resort is fine, you know? But especially if you're young, I would highly suggest staying in hostels. They're usually super cheap, like maybe $10 to $20 a night, and just bring a lock and like lock yourself in the locker. But that's where you get to meet a lot of other cool people, especially people your age too. And you can meet, like, usually like locals will work at the the hostel or stuff, or you'll meet them like on the streets and stuff. But it's also cool to meet other travelers and hear their stories too. That was definitely one of my favorite parts. And I mean, like, yeah, you feel kind of slightly dirty, maybe a little grungy when you're staying in a hostel, but you're saving money. And also I just feel like it's so much more of an authentic life experience, because I don't know, it's just like real, you know, that like glamorous, dirty but happy kind of vibe, you know, whatever. But if that's your thing, I would totally recommend it. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. I kind of did ramble a little, so if you want me to do like more videos on travel specifically that maybe relate to a certain theme or something, you can let me know in the comments below. But I think I'm just going to end this here. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you're having a fabulous day, whatever time of day it is for you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!